Rainfall at an intensity no city drainage system is built to absorb has slammed into northern Tokyo and the southern edge of Saitama Prefecture, flooding streets within minutes, pushing a river past its banks, and forcing emergency warnings across one of the most densely populated regions on Earth. The most extreme reading came from Itabashi Ward in northern Tokyo, where radar analysis indicated more than 120 millimeters of rain, close to 5 inches, falling in a single hour. Neighboring Kita and Toshima wards were hit with roughly 100 millimeters in the same hour, and across the prefectural boundary, the Saitama city of Toda took a comparable pounding. That is the kind of hourly total many Japanese cities see once in several years, and it landed in the middle of a Saturday evening, when streets were full of shoppers, delivery riders, and families heading home. Emergency bulletins came one after another. 9 wards of central and northern Tokyo, including Shinjuku, Bunkyo, Toshima, Kita, Itabashi, Nerima, Chuo, Taito, and Arakawa, were placed under a level 4 alert, the tier that instructs residents in dangerous locations to leave immediately. The Saitama city of Wako received the same warning. Later in the evening, the alert zone widened south into Yokohama and Kawasaki, and 2 Yokohama wards, Kohoku and Tsurumi, were issued formal evacuation instructions. The situation turned critical along the Shirako River, a small waterway draining a heavily built-up corridor between Nerima Ward and Saitama. At the Koyasubashi gauge, the water reached the level at which flooding is considered underway, and authorities issued a level 5 bulletin, the highest tier, warning the river had probably already spilled over. At the Matsudono Bridge and on the Zenpyukuji River in Sujinami Ward at 2 separate gauges, levels hit the tier below that, the point at which overflow can happen at any moment. The scenes were of a city overwhelmed from below rather than above. In Sumina Ward, water blasted upward out of manholes as the sewer network filled faster than it could discharge. In the Ogikubo district of Sujinami, residential streets vanished under brown water. In Kawaguchi, on the Saitama side, drivers reported large-scale flooding on main roads. Sections of expressway were closed and traffic was disrupted through the evening. This came barely 24 hours after Saitama had already absorbed a similar flood. Radar analysis the previous afternoon showed about 110 millimeters of rain in 1 hour near Saitama City, striking right at the start of the evening commute. In one residential district in the city's Kita ward, water rose to about 90 centimeters, higher than the waist of an adult, within minutes of the downpour starting. Emergency lines took a steady stream of calls about submerged vehicles. One car went under near a station on the new shuttle line, and a swimming school minibus was left stranded in deep water, its driver escaping without injury. One ward alone logged 35 reports of road flooding. All of this is unfolding while the region is still recovering from a far deadlier event. Just over a week ago, record-breaking rain devastated neighboring Chiba Prefecture, killing at least 5 people, injuring more than 24, cutting power to tens of thousands of homes, and stranding thousands of travelers overnight at Narita Airport. Repair crews are still working there, and saturated ground now needs far less rain than usual to fail. Behind this run of extremes is a stalled frontal boundary, feeding on warm, extremely humid air from the south, layered under cooler air aloft. That mix makes the atmosphere violently unstable, letting storm cells erupt over a single ward, dump an absurd volume of water on a few square kilometers, and dissipate before the next one. Officials are urging people to stay out of underground spaces, basement car parks, and flooded roads, and above all not to drive into standing water, where depth is impossible to judge and engines stall in seconds. More unstable air is in the forecast, and the same neighborhoods that flooded remain the most exposed. Part of what makes these numbers so destructive is the way the city underneath is built. The sewer networks of central Tokyo and the neighboring Saitama suburbs were largely designed around the benchmark of roughly 50 millimeters of rain per hour. When more than twice that figure arrives inside 60 minutes, the pipes stop draining and start acting as pressurized channels, which is exactly why manhole covers lift and water erupts upward instead of disappearing downward. Every square meter of asphalt, rooftop, and car park sends its share straight into the same overloaded system, and in low-lying pockets the water finds the only route left, which is through basements, underpasses, and ground floor shops. There is precedent for this in the same weeks of previous summers. Similar convective downpours have pushed 100 millimeters per hour over central wards before, flooding subway entrances and turning shopping streets into channels, and the Shirako River corridor in particular has a long record of backing up during short, violent storms. What is different this month is the frequency. 3 separate high-end rainfall events have struck the same metropolitan region within 10 days, each hitting a slightly different set of neighborhoods, and each landing on ground that had not finished draining from the last one. The human cost so far in this latest round is limited compared with the earlier disaster to the east, where recovery is only beginning and where support schemes for emergency repairs to damaged homes are just now opening to applicants. But the pattern is a familiar warning. Flash flooding in a dense city kills mainly through vehicles and underground spaces, and it does so in the first 20 or 30 minutes, before any official message can reach the people already in the water. Local authorities have been repeating one instruction above all others through the evening, which is to move upward rather than outward, and to treat any flooded road as impassable, regardless of how shallow it looks from the driver's seat.